You know, I get a lot of questions about how... Wait a minute. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, that's better. You know, I get a lot of questions about how it is that I started out in trading. And I thought we could take a little trip or a little journey through all the trading systems I've ever used. And welcome, and happy Monday, everybody. It's good to be here. I'm Rob Booker, best-selling author of Adventures of a Currency Trader, Trading by Faith, and you may not have known, 513.62. So what is this 513.62 business? Well, about 1 million years ago, in 2003, I wrote this ebook, 513.62. Crazy, right? And I'll put a link up inside this video or somewhere near this video so that you can grab a copy of that, which would be amazing, right? And I thought today what we would do is maybe spend a few moments and I would teach you that system. What do you think about that? All right, so let's just take a walk through this system and I'll show you what this is all built from. So about 1 million years ago, the first trading system that I ever traded with was 513.62, and I used a combination of moving averages. I read something like Alexander Elder. He wrote a book, Trading for a Living, which was a really, really strong, heavy influence in my trading. And I put together 3 moving averages, a 5 EMA, a 13 EMA, and then a 62, 62. And some of those were moving averages and some of those were exponential moving averages, and I don't think it really matters, and I don't really care anymore, and I don't want to get caught up in all kinds of business like that. But what I'd like to do today is maybe look at that system and then take a look at how I might refine it today if I were still trading it. And then maybe also explain why I'm not trading it anymore. I had a conversation with my friend Boris the other day, and we were talking about the fact that it's hilarious that we don't trade the systems that we traded a long time ago. And if we simply would just keep trading the systems that worked in the past, we'd probably be a lot happier today. Anyway, so here you have the here you have the crux of the entire system. Right here is, on the chart, is where the 5 crosses below the 13. So the red line's crossing below the 13, and that's bearish. And that's when we might start initiating sell positions. So maybe a sell every time we touch the 5 EMA. You know, right away, right off the bat, maybe we just start taking some sell trades and we put a stop loss above the highs that were made before the cross. And then when we cross below the 13, that was in the past anyway. I would consider that like very bearish. Very bearish, the name of my new breakfast cereal made for bear cubs. Okay, so those were the main elements of the system. And what I thought I would do if I were still trading it, you know, in this day and age or today, as we take this tour through my previous trading systems this week, I thought if I were still trading this today, what would I do? And I decided that what I would want to do is add to the mix maybe some intraday pivots. So let's see if we can add some intraday pivot points here. And so what I did was I added some 8-hour pivots, 4-hour pivots. Yeah, 8-hour pivots. Right here, these red lines right here, 8-hour pivots. And these are the previous 8-hour session, which is meaningful in the world of Forex because there's 24 hours a day in a day. and there are 3 primary trading sessions: the Middle Earth trading session, the Dothraki trading session, and then there is the human trading session, which is the least interesting of them all. Most of the action's all happening in the Dothraki trading session. Now, I'm not going to explain to you stuff that you already know. And each of these pivots is made up of the last session's high plus the last session's low plus the last session's close added together and then divided by 3. You want to make it real interesting, divide them by 3.14. I just made that up. If somebody wants to develop that indicator, I will pay for tradingview.com. I'll pay you $250. Like, that's a real offer. You can send me a I guess a horse messenger, because I hate when people write to me, but you could send me a message, maybe on Telegram Messenger. That would be great, and I'll pay you. I think it'd be interesting to have some pie pivots. Anyway, let's get back to the charts. So each of these pivots is made up of the previous sessions, high, low, and close, added together, and then divided by 3. And I call these the 8-hour intraday pivots. And this one right here was missed. Here she comes, Miss Pivot America. And that 8-hour pivot was missed. It means it was not touched by price on the day that it was created. Tonight, untouched by a pivot, Angela Lansbury discovers old musty pivots in her attic. Okay, so when this bearish movement begins, that pivot is a perfect profit target. And let's say that we had then following that bearish move, we had a 513.62 crossover, a 513 crossover right down here at the bottom. Let's say we had that next. Well, I would say this 8-hour pivot, 8-hour pivot is what they would say in Australia. I don't know that they would say that. The 8-hour pivot would be our profit target. And I would just use this 15-minute chart, and I would just trade crossovers when the pivot was far enough away that we could take a trade. So in this area right here, we get all these 513.62 crossovers, and I would just ignore those. I wouldn't trade those at all. I would say to those pivots, I would say to those 513.62 crossovers, we reject you. We're dropping you off here on the side of the road and never coming back for you. That was really cruel. I shouldn't have said that. Okay, let's get back to the chart. So I wouldn't trade those. I would ignore those. I would wait instead for a crossover where there was a pivot above or below. In fact, there's one right here. Let's take a look. Like right there, there's a 513 bullish crossover, and then there's a nice 8-hour pivot above. And there's another one, little crossover, and then a small move upward. And then here there's a bearish crossover, and there's a pivot below. And then we have a crossover above, and there's a pivot above. Why am I not trading this trading system anymore? What's wrong with me? Oh my gosh. That's pretty amazing. So this was one of the very first trading systems that I ever traded. And I stopped trading this to move on to other trading systems that included support and resistance, the magical carry trade, which we'll talk about hopefully this week as well, and just a bunch of other trading systems. And the primary reason that I switched these trading systems now and then was simply because I became bored with the one I was trading, even though, or despite the fact that it was working perfectly well. It's pretty astounding. It's just pretty crazy. Now, I know a bunch of you are wondering, how can you get your greedy little paws on this little ebook? So I'll just put a link up under the YouTube video, and then you can jump over to a page. You can enter your email address and your name so that I could maybe notify you if I start doing some free sessions or maybe a free YouTube playlist about this method. Some of you are also wondering where you can get those intraday pivots. And the answer to that is, I don't know, but maybe near the end of this week or within the next few videos, I'll pop up a link where, if you put your email address in and your name on that other page, what I'll do is I will set up a way to distribute that to you within a few days or whatever, and that'll help me keep track of you, because I don't have a way for that to be easily downloadable right now. But I want to make it available for you because I love you, for a couple of different trading platforms. And if you'd like that, then let's do some business together. Let's look at a few more of these trades before we head off. These are really kind of fun, aren't they? So here's a 513.62 crossover right here, these ones, but there's no real pivot anywhere nearby that gives us a really big target. And here's a crossover going upward that doesn't really have a target anywhere nearby, although it moves up a long way. This next one is really the one that has a target down below. It has this one down here, and then of course this nearest one right there. And then we cross over again, and it just doesn't go anywhere. And then, after for a little while, when it's just going sideways and not going anywhere, it finally just hits or runs into, smacks up against the next 8-hour pivot, in which case I would just say, just close it out. Well, that's a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. If you liked what we did today, just subscribe to the channel. Okay, hold on, let me point in the right direction. Okay, in one of these places, there's a link to the page where you can enter your name and email address, and I'll send you the ebook, and then I'll also, in a few days, send you a link to download some of these indicators. That's number one. Number two is subscribe to the channel, watch some other videos on the channel. I super appreciate you being here. I love you all. Thanks so much, everybody. Have the best day of all time and forever. I'll talk to you soon.